Welcome out there. My name is Laolu Akonde and you are on to Inside Sources. Here is my take for the week, entitled Tough Times Demand Tough Choices. But first, let us rise as a people to commend the fabulous policemen at Ladipo Market, who last week dealt a crushing blow to some ravaging kidnappers right at the site of their crime, in a shootout that is now restoring the confidence of all of us in the Nigerian police. This kind of gallantry demonstrated by the police deserves accolades and recognition. Kudos. Now, there are three things that are very clear about the situation of the country today. Number one, there is serious hardship in the land, economically and in terms of security. Number two, we want to believe that the leadership, especially Mr. President, is concerned and they are grappling with the situation. And this is based on what their allies and aides keep telling us. And that's a good thing. But the top point is that regardless of number two above, the indications are still very bleak. We cannot say yet that we have seen the light at the end of the tunnel. For example, see how fuel scarcity is now off and on. Nonetheless, our wish and prayer is that the light at the end of the tunnel will soon emerge. And let us be confident as a people that that will happen. However, to facilitate that confidence and that light, there are tougher decisions that our elected leadership must start thinking about very seriously. Now, what are those tough decisions that they ought to take? Let's look at one today. It is decisively dealing with the corrosive corruption in the oil and gas sector. For a significant length of time now, we have not been producing enough crude, and there have not been sufficient significant investment in the oil and gas sector. What is therefore clear in the oil sector, starting from the NNPC and co, is that there is serious debilitating corruption. Why is it, for instance, that the cost of lifting crude from Nigeria is the highest in the world? It costs $48 to lift crude in Nigeria. Okay? But in Saudi Arabia, it is $9. In Norway, it is $21. In the US, it is $24. Why is it that in Nigeria, it is prohibitively at $48 to lift a barrel of crude? That's a big issue that indicates to us that there is serious problem in our oil and gas sector. Also, when NNPC sends crude abroad to bring refined petroleum, who is doing the accounting? And where is the accounting? Why are we still struggling with oil production capacity of 1.2 million barrels per day when we budgeted in this 2024 for at least 1.7 million barrels per day? Mr. President, this is the deal. You need to do the same thing you did regarding CBN to the NNPC. Why can't our local refineries, for instance, get a good chunk of the domestic crude allocation of NNPC? Why is that such a big problem? We should not accept that giving the local refiners crude will affect our forex earnings. That ought not to be the case ordinarily, since the crude we send out is based on the refined products that we get. If that is not so, why don't we have a simple, transparent explanation from those in charge? We understand that some of these issues can be very complicated. No doubt about that. Clearly complicated. But the ministers that run our petroleum and gas resources alongside NNPC, they owe us a simple explanation on these things. As a people, if we are not going to deceive ourselves, we need to take a harder look at the big elephant in the room when we talk about corruption. Corruption corrodes everything. We have to go after the big, significant problems of our nation and go after the petulant enemies of our collective progress. It takes toughness to navigate what is certainly a tough situation that our country has found itself today. Let us get it done there is still time to do it. And there you have my take for the day. Inside Sources will be right back. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue the conversation on the future of Nigeria, we have a most eminent Nigerian, an outstanding journalist, and a far accomplished, one of the most accomplished Nigerian politicians. I'd like to welcome Aremo Chief Olusegun Osoba to Inside Sources. Chief, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Lord.
Thank you, and happy birthday in advance. You will be turning 85 on Monday, sir. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask you, Chief, how do you manage to still look very young, even at 85, sir? Let's open it that way.
Well, I will tell you that the grace of God, then the most important thing is to be contented. I don't envy anybody. I don't use anybody's measure to measure my own living and standard. I live my life, and I make sure that what I have is adequate for me, and I feel highly contented. Very important.
Words on marble. Words on marble. Thank you so much for that counsel. So let's get right to the conversation, sir. I wanted to ask you, since 1999 up until now, we have had in Nigeria, for the first time in our history, a continuous civil rule. We dare say civil democracy. Now, in your assessment, Chief, would you say that there has been a significant developmental impact on the life of our people between 1999 and now in a way that we didn't have before 1999?
I would say in moderation, because the expectations of Nigerians have not been totally met over the years. But the great thing is that Nigerians have come to embrace democracy and democratic governance. That is the biggest gain that we have had since 1999. Comparatively to military rule, Nigerians have decided that never again would they allow dictatorship to reign in Nigeria. That I would say is our biggest gain.
Okay, so we have made progress in terms of settling the matter of democracy
and stability.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
And stability. Nigeria has been very, very stable. Stability, freedom of expression, freedom to do what the law allows you to do, unlike in the military, where the dictatorship was the norm.
Okay, sir. So what will you say are the how we should approach the future in terms of all the other things that we need to do to meet, at least to get closer to the expectations of our people, Chief?
Well, the greatest thing that we need is cooperation between the people and the government of the day. When there is cooperation and understanding between the government and the governed, then there will be better progress, understanding, and a reasonable level of tolerance on both sides.
Will you say that the Nigerian people have been tolerant enough with the political elite, especially since after 1999, or do you think it's the political elite that have not matched up? I wanted to ask you, how do we balance that in your own view, sir?
I must say that the rank and file and ordinary people of Nigeria have been really tolerant, because they've always tried to adjust to whatever situation that comes up. It pains me when I look back and see how Nigerians were climbing the walls of banks just to access their own hard-earned money. It is not easy when there was that currency swap and currency change. And when I see what Nigeria went through at that time, for lack of fuel, shortage of fuel, and some people who sleep overnight at petrol depot, petrol stations, I praise Nigeria for their tolerance. What I would say is that government also must continuously react, and government must continuously listen to the mood and the feeling of the ordinary Nigerian.
Thank you, sir. While we're at it, what do you think? I mean, now I'm talking about the fuel situation. I think that it has become better, just like you said, but we still have often and then scarcity, long queues here and there, most of the times due to technical, logistical problems. So in your own view, how do you think the government and the oil and gas sector can sort out the problem of fuel in the country? And here I'm referring to the issues of fuel subsidy, refineries, and the Dangote refineries, a whole lot of that, the gamut of those issues. In your own perspective, sir, what is the best approach to solving this problem?
The first approach that the government should do is to tackle the issue of corruption. It's endemic within the oil and gas sector. And the second sector is security. The pipeline problem where a lot of Nigerian oil production is being stolen to the detriment of revenue to government. These are two issues that government must work upon. There must be understanding with the people of Niger Delta. We have to show sympathy to them. They are the ones who are producing this oil, and they are the ones who are facing the environmental hazards and problems of oil production. So the government must find a means of negotiating a reasonable understanding between the people of Niger Delta and the government. And secondly, the corruption in the oil sector is so high. And our government must do everything to reduce this corruption, round-tripping and recycling of vessels, pretending to bring in oil into the country. These are issues that government has been tackling. And they will do more now on that to ensure that we have a moderation in fuel shortages and price differential.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's move to a different topic. I wanted to ask you, Chief, about the conduct and the practice of party democracy in Nigeria. Now, good thing you were a governor in the Third Republic, and you were also a governor in the Fourth Republic. As a matter of fact, in the Second Republic, you are a journalist, a leading senior executive in the media. So you also knew exactly the dynamics that played in terms of party democracy in the Second Republic. My question is, why is it that the way the political parties are structured in this Fourth Republic is significantly different from the way we had the political parties, especially in the Second Republic?
I'm very unhappy about the current situation in the management and control of our political system. I was involved right from the days of NCNC, MPC, and Action Group in the First Republic, and I know how the party was very supreme up to the time of MPN, UPN, and particularly up to the period of the military of SDP and NRC. The party was highly respected, and the party rules and regulations were adhered to. Up to the time that we had AD, I would say that the allowed for democracy was democratic in terms of the way the party was run. But lately, I've not been happy. And unfortunately, this started during the regime of President Obasanjo, when, in his own word, he introduced the garrison command into Nigerian politics. And they created garrison commanders, for example, in Ibadan. We had garrison commander who were the lords. And that was the time when about 6 legislators will impeach a governor. An example was the case of Joshua Daye in Plateau. And if you recall, the same thing happened to Alabesia, late Alabesia in Bayelsa, where the democratic law was bastardized, and legislators were taken into custody by EFCC, and they were totally intimidated, and they were taken direct from EFCC custody to go and sit. Just 6 or 8 or 10 of them out of about 30 or 35 members, where the law says the 2/3 of legislators. I have already preached that we should be doing direct primary, but then I always be preaching that members who claim to be our members, their registration must be matched with their voter card. But you will be surprised, we claim to have so many millions of voters, and when it gets to election, we get about only a quarter of the registered member voting. And we say that 3/4 of our members don't bother to go to polls. So these are issues that the parties, but not just all the parties. And if you look at the way we conduct local government election, I'm very unhappy. Virtually every state, any government in power will claim 100% success at their local government election, and when it gets to general election, they struggle to even solve. There was even discipline where we had SDP and NRC up to the time we had AD. As I said, but the current situation is such that parties register millions of members, and on the day of election, the result is not up to 1/4 of the so-called registration of members. That doesn't speak well of the political parties currently. Secondly, as I was saying, it is painful that when state local government elections are conducted at state level, each state will be scoring 100%. And when it gets to general election, those who are scoring 100% in their state either lose the general election or struggle to survive. It doesn't speak well of current democratic system. And I'm not happy. The party discipline is not as strong as it used to be. There is need for party involvement, and I've always preached all my life that we should be doing direct primary, not delegate, because in case of delegates, it is the highest bidder. We all know it, that the highest bidder will buy up delegates, camp them in a special place, and they are loaded with funds. But if you do direct primary with registration of registered members who also are registered to vote in each of their locations, there will be less corruption. We need to still work hard on our current party system and discipline. Now, in the days of our confab, he will hold regular executive council meeting. Congresses are held regularly, and people, members of the party, leaders of the party are allowed to express themselves. And after listening to all kinds of opinion, Papa would now summarize and effect the policy as enunciated by members of the party through regular meetings and congresses.
And I agree with you that some of these problems, in terms of party democracy challenges that we have, started with the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, who actually, in fact, said in one of the elections that the election was a do-or-die matter, and of course some of the things that you have said. So that shows that whoever is president does have a significant influence on the process. So I wanted to ask you, how do we get out of that quagmire of the messing up, the truncation of party democracy entirely? How do we get back to a proper practice and conduct of party democracy? And what is the role of our current president in making that happen, in your view, Chief?
Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a product of direct primary, and he believes in it. The last time I discussed with him, he expressed his unhappiness at some of the way things are done within our party. He's a product of direct primary, and is an apostle of direct primary. I'm sure that when he settles down with all this economic and security situation that we are facing, he will face the issue of party discipline and party control, and it is my hope that we will get a better democratic norm. But the best thing for us to do is to go digital. I do not, in an era of high digital, high IT, high communication system, I don't know why we cannot, on the day of election, buy up satellite and create a situation where we will be in control of hackers and then be able to transmit results direct from polling unit to collation center, and from collation center to the INEC headquarters in Abuja. The technology is there, the facilities are there. We just have to embrace modern day technology. It's the only way to sanitize our democratic system.
Our constitution, as it is currently, puts issues of education, health, and agriculture on the concurrent list, which means that the state governments have, the leeway, to conduct affairs in those sectors. And these are the core areas of state governance. Chief, I wanted to ask you, because again, you come with a lot of experience. What do we need to do to get the governors to sort out the priority of human capital development? Many people have even said part of the problem that we have with security is because, we are not dealing with the human capital development quotient, and so people don't have anything else to do. What's your take on this, Chief?
First of all, I totally disagree that federal government should be involved in any way with primary education. I detest the idea of centralization of primary education. You know why? Primary education is cultural. You start, it's cultural.
Okay, sir.
In Yoruba land, it used to be our great-grandmother that were our first point of contact as teachers. They sit us down under the moonlight, alone. That's what is it that passes through the front of the king and doesn't give respect and due respect. You say it's the flood. Because when there is rain and the water is flowing, it will not stop to say to give respect to Adoba. And then they put, it's like a puzzle. They ask you, what is it that can give a dog to the king? You say it's the baba, because it's the razor blade that you use to clean the king's head that has no respect for the king. So you see, that is the way we are taught in our own language. A Kanuri man will not start education of his child with Yoruba, and the young man will not start the education of his child with an Hausa. So what is the business of federal government sitting in Abuja and getting involved in Yobe or Abeokuta or Mina. It is purely cultural. And so there will be decentralization. And from there, the state should now then come in. For example, we don't have Yoruba teachers. That is a serious challenge. And I'm sure it's the same thing with other cultures in Nigeria. We are a multinational country. So you cannot in any way centralize education. The federal government can come in terms of assisting in funding, not in control. Secondly, I agree with you. Not only our system of education is very, very bad. To me, we should invest more on technical education. People reading history, philosophy, they are not educated. When you talk of technical education, people who go to study electrical, plumbing, bricklaying are the artisans that we need more in Nigeria now. We are now importing Togolese and billionaires from the Republic to come and do all this job. We need to look back at our education. I mean, when we talk of unemployment, the people that are unemployed are those who went to universities and studied in English, philosophy, history. But when you talk of hunger, a plumber, a bricklayer, an electrician will not tell you, a carpenter will not tell you that he's hungry because he will get one job or the other to do. But those who are roaming the streets are those who went into the university and just passed through to climb up and then say that they have a degree in the history. In a country where we don't even have history in our syllabuses anymore. So we need to look seriously into our educational syllabuses and system.
Exactly, and I'm sure, and thank you for your response. I'm sure you have the same sentiments regarding the healthcare, because you know the primary healthcare system is in most of our states completely run down. Even general hospitals don't seem to be well equipped. This is another crisis in the states. You know, what's your take, sir?
You see, unfortunately, many of you would all remember, Oliko Iraso Kuti did a census of virtually all households in Nigeria when he wanted to introduce his primary health care system. Yeah. The problem with us is we lost it at the time when we lost sanitary inspectors. Primary health problems are usually things that should not get to the hospital. Because what we need is a situation where you ensure that you are not breeding mosquitoes that will create malaria for people. That's primary health care. And then the first thing to do is to go to health centers, not to hospitals. But the thing is that things get so bad for us in Nigeria, the health system gets so bad and things get so much out of hand before we send our people to the hospital. And the hospital is now taking care of what should have been done at primary health care level. You see, we need serious inward thinking to go back to Oliko Iraso idea of primary health care and reduction in all those issues that can be handled at health care center before you get to the hospital where the whole place is congested.
Yeah, in an earlier discussion on the matter, Chief, with a former Minister of Health, Professor Adewale, he narrated, you know, his experience that when he visited a number of states, he found out that the state governments were building hospitals, specialist hospitals, tertiary hospitals that are meant to be done by the federal government, but that in these hospitals, they didn't have enough doctors. The question is, why do you have state governments not focusing on revamping the primary health care system and not focusing on the general hospitals, but wasting resources to build tertiary hospitals? Chief?
Well, as I told you, if we take care of our primary health system, our hygienic situation, we will not have congestions at our hospital, and we may not need to build so many hospitals. We have to think seriously about the way our people live. Look at what we have now, cholera. It's waterborne, and on a hygienic situation that we prepare our food that makes you to have cholera and people are dying. So we should invest more on primary health care and reduce the pressure on the tertiary institutions and our general hospitals.
Okay, sir. So let's move on to issues of security. And lately, it seems that we are now beginning to have a groundswell of national opinion supporting the creation of state police. You know, having tried all other kinds of things to sort out the recurring situation of insecurity in our country. My question to you, sir, is that while many of us, and I'm sure including you, support the idea of state police, do you have any fears that the governors who are likely to be in charge of state police might abuse state police? Do you have any fears? Do you have any concerns? What do you think, Chief Osoba?
Yes, abuse of state police is an issue. But if you recall, we used to have local government police in the colonial days, and we used to have the authority police in the north. Yes, there will be abuses, but in truth, what we need to strengthen is if we are going to have local police, let us have a security wing of the police system that will be local. I'll give you an example.
What's up?
Mr. Evans, the notorious kidnapper, had a place in Festac where he was keeping people that he kidnapped. And yet, the people in Festac, which is a big community, they don't know. It is lack of
Local police.
Local and grassroots security system that failed. How can you have a house next to you and don't know what's going on inside that house? So when we have state police, we should strengthen the security wing of the state police in such a way that security situations are shared and information are passed on from the grassroots level until we take care of the situation at the grassroots level. Take for example, how come that people can keep kidnappers in our forest settlement and we don't have knowledge? And that's why you need to have the likes of Amoteku type of thing, those on the ground, those from those localities who know the terrain very well, and they can pass information from the grassroots, from the local level to state police level, and from the state police level to the federal level.
But so do you have any fears, sir? Do you have any fears about if and when we have state police, how the governors might manage or abuse the situation? Do you have any worries about that?
That fear will always be there. But nobody can sit in Abuja and tell me what is going on in Iwope, water side of Ogun State, or what is going on in Togeji, in the Ipokia local government. The Abuja is too remote. We cannot going to have. This is the only country where we have a federal system and the police is centralized. There is no other federal system. Even when you get to UK, the Metropolitan Police is purely for London. And each of the councils and each of the area have their own area police. I don't know. Yes, there will be abuse. But it's part of the risk that we have to take. But as against what we have now, where intelligence gathering is failing us is because intelligence gathering is not well grounded at grassroots, and we can only be well grounded in grassroots where you have state police. You cannot stop it. In the days of Demo in Yoruba land, they used to plant things at the backyard of everybody, of people, and local police would go and claim that you have planted skeletons in your compound or criminal situation. Yes, that the abuse, but we have to live with it, and we have to use the court to fight the abuses that may come with state police.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So let's move on to the issue of restructuring and the idea of a new constitution or perhaps significant amendments on the constitution. Now, one of the cardinal points of the APC when it was formed in 2013-2014 is the idea of restructuring the country. Now, that hasn't happened in the last 8 to 9 years that APC has been in power. In your view, sir, do you think that this should remain a cardinal and focal point of the APC? And what is your expectation from the current our current president on the issue of restructuring and possibly a new constitution? What are your expectations, Chief?
I think we are making a fundamental mistake on the issue of restructuring. I believe in it, and I'm sure the president believes in restructuring. But you see, when you want to restructure a country, as terrible and as imperfect as the 99 Constitution is, you cannot in any way bypass the National Assembly under the situation that we have now. The president is not a military president who can rule by decree, or who can just decree a change in the law or in the Constitution. The power to do so is vested in the National and State Assembly. I have always argued that we should be careful. I recall when the guy there was 40, and Professor, the NIA Director General, Professor Gosa, spoke eloquently about restructuring. And he said, when all of us have said we should go back to 1963 Constitution, he gave so many examples, but one that I will just talk about that. He said it was the same 1963 Constitution that was used to totally destabilize and destroy the glorious system of governance in Southwest, the then Western region. It was the same 1963 Constitution that gave the Prime Minister the power to go and declare a state of emergency in the Western region. The same Constitution that voiced an unpopular government in NNDP on Western region. It's that when we talk of all these things, we should be careful. So what I'm saying is that you cannot just say, go back to this, go back to 1960, go back to 1963. No position is totally perfect. So for the current situation, the president hasn't got the power to alter. Where we should start from is to ensure that we take a reasonable and good proposal to the National Assembly. Some people have said there should be a referendum. Fine. Who is to legislate on referendum? The president cannot just order a referendum. And I want us to be careful, particularly those of us from Western region, Yoruba land. We should not assume that our own idea of restructuring will be acceptable to the generality of Nigerians. And we should be very, very wary and be careful. If you call for a referendum where we have not gone to educate other parts of the country on our own philosophy, on our own idea of what we want, where they don't understand enough of what we are even preaching, which may be better for all of us, we may be outvoted. So it's a delicate situation Nigeria, as it is now, is not running a genuine and true federalism. We all accept that. There must be a change. But approach to that change is what I think we should focus on now and work very hard at it and reach a reasonable consensus on how to do it before we move into the restructuring of the situation of the current constitution.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about the approach, and I very much agree with you, Chief, that these are very important issues, to be approached very cautiously. What do you think of the 2014 National Confab report? Because a lot of the people that attended that confab have said that, look, some consensus have been built around some of the issues, and many of them, like Chief Adebanjo, like Chief Edwin Clark, and several of them have said that, look, it might be useful for us to take another look at the report of that confab, which is already available. What do you think about that, Chief?
It's okay to talk about 2014 confab. I was there. But I'm saying the only way out is for us to now, some reasonable number of people all over the different geopolitical zones, chosen all over the country, what is, we pontificate, we sharply change. If we all believe that 2014 is the answer, why are we not organizing ourselves in such a way that a reasonable number of people around the whole country sign an understanding and present this to the National Assembly and leave them to go and debate it and decide on it? We cannot force that. We cannot force it on the president. Neither can we force it on anybody. It has to go to the National Assembly. That is what I'm saying. As the situation is at the moment, we cannot bypass the National Assembly. It's not possible.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chief. My point is that is that confab report of 2014, in your view, is it useful at all in charting a way forward? Do you think it is useful at all?
All the confab that I have attended, including the one in 1986, 87, the reports are very useful. All I'm saying is that essential points in those reports, some of us all over the country should gather together, sign and sponsor a bill to the National Assembly. And then the process starts from the National Assembly. I'm saying that our approach is still not correct. We cannot continue to just talk about it and not take action. That's what I'm saying. You see, the National Assembly, as it is now, must discuss the issue, reach consensus on some of the issues, and then 2/3 of the state must agree, and then we have a new constitution.
All right, your point is well made, and the reason why that is important is, of course, that many of us, like you said, believe that the issue of restructuring is so fundamental, and so there is a lot of excitement, in the polity from different sectors, that now you have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is one of the staunch advocates of restructuring. So there is an heightened level, Chief, of expectation. There's an heightened level of expectation that something worthwhile will happen under his watch, because he has the influence. You are right, Chief, that the National Assembly is the one that has the powers to get this thing done. But the president certainly has significant influence on what happens. Your take, Chief.
Look, he said it when he visited the Afenifere, that restructuring must be approached in the consensus manner. He is in power, and he has told me many times that his major focus now is facing the economic situation. He is very, very upset and unhappy. at the state of poverty in the country. And he keeps telling me that the state of security is so overwhelming, and that his determination is to see the total reduction on the insecurity in the country. A situation where the economic situation will improve and the standard of our living of our people will improve. It's when he's able to tackle some of these issues that he will not come to political issues. Even I was asking him about the issue of ambassadors. I said, look, you recall the ambassadors about 7 or 8 months ago. What is still causing the delay in appointing them? And he told me that when he looks at the cost of sending these ambassadors and maintaining them, as of this moment, he would rather use the little foreign exchange that he has to stabilize the economy first before going on these international issues. When you talk of him confronting this issue at a time when he is facing major challenges in the economic situation and security, you will sympathize with him. Yeah, I sympathize, and I always tell him that we totally underrated that we are near the state of becoming a Zimbabwe under Mugabe. But where the drift is being managed gradually, but things are still not. We still need to do a lot more.
Yeah, well, your points are well made, and it's actually reassuring that the president is upset about the economic situation and the security situation. So we are hopeful that issues will be sorted out. Because of our time, it's about time to begin to round up, and I wanted to ask you, you've been a major player in Nigeria's national issues, right from when you are a journalist until when you became an outstanding politician. So I wanted to take some of your personal recollections, So I'll just read out some names, and I want you to give me a quick, if you are to give maybe a word or two or a phrase to describe these people who have played an active role in our country. And I'll start with General Muritala. What do you think about General Muritala?
Well, General Muritala meant well for Nigeria. It's unfortunate that Tinubu cut his life short. It started very well, although in some cases there were issues of inadequate consultations on some of the actions, but it's unfortunate that Tinubu assassinated him. But he was one government, one person that meant well for this country. Unfortunately, it didn't last long.
Yeah. Okay, General, go on.
Oh, fantastic! It was a man who came in the 30s and displayed high maturity beyond his age, and till today, we still respect him all over the country.
Yeah. What about your statesman, as in coming from the same state, former President Olusegun Obasanjo?
Again, well, he did his best, but I don't agree with him with many things, so I don't want to go into that. I did agree with him in his conduct of elections. I didn't agree with him. For example, if I were president, I would have made the Paris Club as he did, where he went up. There's no country that doesn't owe the millions of dollars that we use in paying off the Paris. If we had used it on power sector, we will have solved our power problem today. But while he was there, he did his best.
What about former general and former president IBB?
Babangida is a very, very close friend and a fantastic man. He is one president who had contact all over the country and was a listening president. Unfortunately, when his boys drove him into the cul-de-sac of June 12 is a period, it's a thing that was painful to me. Otherwise, he's still to be a fantastic person in terms of development. Project that he did in his time.
Okay, sir. What about former President Muhammadu Buhari?
President Muhammadu Buhari, an introvert of the first order, a gentleman, and somebody who delegates, which is the thing that cost him. When I was president of the Data Order, he never for one day called me, and that was his best selling point, and was the one that really affected his government. He left this to too many people to do. I don't think, looking back, he's up with some of them the way they handle issues.
Okay. And finally, about former President Goodluck Jonathan. What's your take on him, sir?
Well, Jonathan again is a man I respect. He's a gentleman. He too delegated too much. For example, our own sector was not well handled. The one that I will praise most, which you haven't spoken about, is General Salami Abaka. The democracy that we are enjoying today is the creation of General Salami Abaka, who, in spite of whatever you say, refused to stay beyond the time that normally he should have stayed longer. But he was one man who decided to leave power voluntarily and created this current democratic system. I praise him.
Thank you so much, Chief Osoba. So this will be the last question, and it's related to some of the things that you've said, particularly, what happened in 1999 when General Abdulsalami commendably, like you have said, gave us the democracy that we have up to today, and he did it in record time. Now, Chief Ayo Adebanjo had said on Inside Sources when he was our guest that there was an agreement then that all of the Southwest governors should boycott Abuja until there was a proper constitution or a sovereign national conference. But he said that, all of you that were governors then did not follow through with that agreement. Please, Chief Osoba, I want you to respond to this and tell us what actually happened.
It is unfortunate that my good uncle, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, usually makes statements that really are very upsetting. If you say the governor should boycott Abuja, it shouldn't start with the governor. There was not, in the first place, there was nothing like that. If there was anything like that, the thing would have started with the National Assembly members of the AD. If they were permanently resident in Abuja, did he tell them to boycott the Senate and the House of Rep? And in any case, Papa Awolowo is against anything like boycott. When he was in prison and the then action group with the then NCNC, OPCA, they opted to boycott. Awolowo sent messages that never. Then we boycotted in the Southwest and we lost. The NCNC that were part of OPCA won all the seats, and then they went to form a government of national unity. There was no resolution of that nature at all. In any case, which of us was resident in Abuja? I didn't have a permanent cook or steward in Abuja. We were never in Abuja. And how can you say that when you are in government, the federation unit should not deal with the center? Is this saying that we should not go to federal allocation committee? And in any case, he himself was appointed by President Obasanjo as a member of a committee to review the constitution. What has it to say? Why did he not reject that offer? There was not, in the first place, there was nothing like that. And we never, in fact, we were the one President Bola Tinubu gradually gave us his attorney general in the former vice president Osoba, and we were in court on issue of local government. We won. On fiscal federalism, we won, and we were using the court to improve on the constitution. So, first of all, there was nothing like that. I'm sorry to say, I reject Chief Adebanjo's assertion. No resolution of that. Ayo Akwadoku is alive. He was Secretary of Afenifere. He should produce the minute of the meeting of Afenifere where it was resolved that we should boycott Abuja. 2, if he is talking of boycotting, why did he accept to be a member of a committee set up by President Olusegun Obasanjo on the issue of constitution? Let him answer that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chief Osoba, for your time, and thank you for making important clarifications. Thank you for also assuring us that the president is very deeply concerned about the major issues in the country, the problem of economic challenges, the hardship in the land, poverty, and insecurity. And we are very hopeful that at the end of 4 years or 8 years, that we will be able to have, we will get closer to that Nigeria of our dreams. Because clearly, the progressives in Nigeria have not been able to come this close to making a difference. So we are very hopeful, sir, that we will yet say Uhuru. Thank you so much. Do you have any last final comments before we close, Chief?
Well, I don't want to thank you very much, and I thank God for giving me the grace to have this healthy and agile life at the age of 55.
Thank you.
Glory be to God.
Glory be to God. And once again, happy birthday as you celebrate your 85th birthday on Monday. We pray that the Lord will continue to strengthen you and grant you more wisdom. Thank you so much for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much.
Right, sir. And that's another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, we believe Nigeria will prevail. Hashtag Nigeria will prevail. And that is why we are here. And thank you for watching. My name is Laolu Akonde. And by the grace of God, I'll see you next week.